A very good morning to you all, our Camnet viewer. This is a breakfast show that comes to your screen every morning from 07 hours to 09 hours. We sincerely apologize for starting this program slightly late. This is due to circumstances that were beyond our control. However, that is not going to prevent us from having a wonderful time this morning with a lot of program that we've lined up for you. Remember, today is a Friday, and Friday we look at business. Talking about business, we also over 24,000 Lusaka residents flocking to the Lusaka Business and Technical College for them to undertake the aptitude test so that they can be part of those 3,000 spaces needed for the census part-time jobs. This has raised a lot of questions, and people are asking, what is the problem? Where are we doing it wrong? Why do we have a huge number of unemployed youths? Of course, men and women are also equally unemployed. So how is it that we can embrace entrepreneurship and, of course, investment opportunities that are in Zambia? That is a topic of discussion, and we are going to have a wonderful guest who's, of course, I don't want to excite you, but the guest that we are having later on in the program is one of those people you need to sit and listen to speak. He is a Zambian, of course, but he does business and he owns a car dealer in the United States of America. That is, of course, interesting. We know that a lot of people talk about investment. Do we have our own people investing in other countries? Yes, definitely we do have, and we are going to have him later on in the program. So stay tuned to Camnet TV, even as we get to discuss a lot of important things. But right about now, before we go deeper into talking about what is it that we have for today, I am your host this morning, Prudence Chota, and of course, I will be with you throughout to 9 hours. But for now, we are going to go into our health corner, where we're going to see what is it that the doctors are talking about today. Remember, it is always important for you to know how you are performing health-wise. It is important for you to know different illnesses that are out there. How is it that you can prevent them, or how is it that if you're living with a condition, you can live with it with a normal life? So this is what this doctor's corner is all about. So let us see what the doctor has to say this morning.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to today's Health Corner. I'm your presenter, Dr. Lila Mkopka, coming to you from the Medical Women Association of Zambia. Today we're going to be looking at a disease known as deep vein thrombosis, as it's commonly abbreviated DVT. So what is this disease? DVT is the formation of a blood clot in the deep veins of the body, most commonly affecting the legs. The most commonly affected veins include the popliteal vein, the posterior tibial vein, and the superficial femoral vein. So what are some of the causes of these blood clots? There are three main things that are stipulated as the causes of this blood clot. The first one is stasis, the second one is hypercoagulation, the third one is endothelial damage. So what causes stasis? Stasis is caused by damage to the valves of the veins. So generally, blood in the veins flows from the extremities to the heart. So if there's damage to the veins, it's easy for blood to become stagnant. And the other thing that can cause stasis is paralysis, which leads to poor contraction of the muscles. If there's poor contraction of the muscles, blood is not easily propelled towards the heart. Another thing is pregnancy. Pregnancy can cause obstruction. The other thing is pregnancy. Pregnancy can cause obstructions of the veins, and this can also cause stagnation. So now when there's stagnation of the blood, it causes easy coagulation of the blood as the platelets come together, cause the blood cells. So if there's stasis of the blood, it is easy for the platelets to come together and coagulate, and this leads to formation of a blood clot. The second thing is hypercoagulable state. So some of the things that can increase or can lead to having a hypercoagulable state include cancers, dehydration, sepsis, and also the use of contraceptives, hormonal therapy. So the third thing is endothelial damage. Some of the things that can cause damage to the endothelial lining include surgery, trauma, and also the use of intravenous drugs. So what are some of the symptoms of this disease? The first one is leg swelling. Mostly the swelling is experienced only on one foot as compared to having it on both legs. The second thing is numbness of the affected leg. One of the things you experience will be a tingling sensation, or you decrease sensation on that area as opposed to the unaffected side. The third thing is changes in the colors of the leg. So when you compare the affected side and the unaffected side, you find the affected side tends to be a little bit red, if you're lighter skin especially, and also in other people it can present with darkening of the skin compared to the unaffected side. The third thing is warmth. So when you touch the affected leg, it tends to be warmer than the unaffected side. And the other thing that you experience is pain on the affected leg. So this pain tends to be severe depending on which area of the body that has been affected. The last that you can also experience is the distension of the superficial veins. So when you look at the affected side, you find that there are distended veins that are mostly seen on the outside of the leg. So join me tomorrow as we are going to be looking at some of the risk factors of this disease. We're also going to be looking at the complications and also some of the investigations that are involved with this disease. So I was your presenter for the day, Dr. Lailam Koka, coming to you from the Medical Women Association of Zambia. See you tomorrow. How was that?
That was Dr. Laila Munkonka, and I hope we've learned one or two things from today's topic on our health corner. Remember, your health is your wealth. In order for you to do your daily activities, you need to be in good shape. You need to be healthy. You cannot be productive if you're not healthy. They say a healthy nation is a productive nation. So ensure that if you feel anything in your body does not feel normal, visit your health facilities. Do not self-prescribe. We always emphasize when we come on this program, the doctors have always emphasized, do not prescribe. Self-prescription sometimes may lead to disaster because you might not really understand what is it that is the problem in your health, and you decide to prescribe yourself. Even headaches sometimes. Please visit the health facilities. I know I've had a lot of cases where someone just had a minor headache and suddenly they fell and died. It is not coincidental. That problem might have been there for quite some time and they didn't realize it. So always important for you to visit the health facility whenever you have a problem. It being toothache. It might be that maybe you have a gum contamination, or maybe you have a gum disease, and for you, you are only thinking maybe it's just a migraine, or maybe it's just a toothache, so I can just take Panadols, or maybe I've even heard you can just melt Colgate there and the problem will end. It doesn't end like that. Please, let's visit our health facility so that we can live a healthy life. This is the Doctor's Corner on Camnet TV, which comes to your set every morning. And for those who are watching who would like to sponsor this program, please get in touch with us so that we can continue to see the doctors come on Camnet TV every morning to talk about different illnesses. But earlier on in the program, I did speak to the fact that we saw a huge number of people flocking to Hero Stadium yesterday, which was the second day of taking the aptitude test, and a lot of people were attempted with the hope of being among only 3,000 spaces that have been allocated to Lusaka for the 2022 Census of Housing and Population part-time jobs. But the question that still stands is, why do we have all this backlog of people? What is it that we are not doing as a country? In case you're wondering what is it that I'm talking about, we are going to zoom in this story that made headline yesterday. And then when we come back, of course, we are going to also look at our money market. How is it that our local currency is performing against other major convertibles? But before we do that, let's zoom in into this story that made headline yesterday. Battle to be selected among those to take up the 3,000 part-time jobs for the 2022 Census of Housing and Population for Lusaka District has entered day 2, with thousands seen at the Hero Stadium patiently waiting to undertake the aptitude tests. Zambia Statistical Agency Interim Statistician General Mulenga Msepa told this reporter that the agency did not expect that the undertaking of the aptitude test would enter the second day, but says it is confident that everyone will undertake the assessment by end of today, Thursday, 4th August 2022.
We've cleared quite a lot since morning. And if we had worked like that yesterday, it could have been quite some productive day. Yeah, okay. We did a bit of some productive work towards the end of the day yesterday, but then we had to stop because of, it was getting late, and we had to bring it to this morning early. It is my expectation and hope and prayer that we should be able to conclude by 17:30, because eventually we have to close the gates.
While the turnout has been overwhelming for the agency, Mr. Mulenga says they have put up mechanisms that will ensure that all those attempting to write the test are given an opportunity without leaving anyone behind, and says the marking of the test is being done automatically and only those who score high will be selected.
In terms of improvement, I think one of the things is that it's more of just the numbers. The numbers are just overwhelming. Lusaka, like I mentioned, their time, it was more than 24,000. So every system you find it is stressed. And even the time that we're doing the applications, the mobile service networks were strained, okay, because it was like a shock. So this is what it is. In other provinces, it has not been like this.
And a Lusaka resident who was among those attempting to write the test has advised the government to learn from the past mistakes to ensure that such mistakes are not repeated.
So I urge the ZAMSTATs and government in future to avoid these things. Today we've got internet. A lot of organizations invite people to write up to tests online. Why them not doing the same thing? Why people where there is no network, they come and do the physical exams, and then those that can manage to do, they do that the things online.
Zambia is a youthful country with majority of the youths being unemployed. Creating employment opportunities for the many unemployed youths therefore requires a concerted effort of all stakeholders, including the private sector. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News. There you have it. Thousands of people yesterday flocked to the Hero Stadium to undertake the aptitude test to be among the 3,000 slots. But remember, the number that you've seen is just for yesterday. Even the day before yesterday, on a Wednesday, we equally had a huge number of people who wrote those aptitude tests. And yesterday, we also saw a huge number, a very huge turnout of people attempting to write those tests. The question that we should be asking ourselves is, what is it that we are not doing as a country to create employment opportunities? We appreciate the effort that is being done by the United Party for National Development Administration in creating employment. I know President Hichilema has on several occasions also emphasized the need for the private sector to come on board. He usually says we want a private sector-led economy because those are the ones who create a lot of job employment opportunities apart from the government. So all stakeholders need to come together to address the unemployment challenges. Talking about that, the day before yesterday, we did see what happened in Petauke district of Eastern Province, where a teacher got into a conversation with the district commissioner, Martha Mulenga, when he attempted to also write the test to be among those who were going to, of course, conduct census in Petauke district. Of course, I know a lot of you have seen that clip online, but the question that we should be asking ourselves, maybe even before we condemn the teacher, is what is it that we are not doing as a country? Is it that the cost of living has gone high, so people are trying to source for other sources of income? But of course, when that story went viral, we did see a reaction from the National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPE's General Secretary, Mr. Nelson Mwale, who condemned the way the matter was handled by the district commissioner. What is it that I'm talking about? Let's zoom in into that headline, even as we invite NUPE's in our studio to just discuss a little bit of what is happening around. So let's zoom in that story. That also made headline yesterday. Wednesday, 3rd August 2022 did not go well for a teacher of Petauke district who attempted to be among those seeking to be recruited for the part-time census jobs. The named teacher was spotted by community members who later reported him to the district commissioner, Martha Mulenga, for attempting to take over the jobs meant for the unemployed.
came in here and I said, you didn't stand up, not until, mind you, don't argue with me. Don't argue with me. Which school do you come from?
The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPE's General Secretary Nelson Mwale, however, says he is disappointed at the manner in which the district commissioner humiliated the teacher and says the commissioner could have found a better way of reprimanding him without going to the media.
There was actually confrontation between the district commissioner and our teacher, Mr. Mkandawire in Petaoke. I think whatever happened did not augur well, did not need the camera for the problem to be sorted out. And so we are calling upon our officials, whenever they are dealing with our members, please, can there be decency? Because at the end of the day, we've got our members to protect and we've got our senior officials to be protected also. And so we want things to be sorted out amicably without a camera closer to, because certain things can be sorted out administratively actually without a camera anywhere near.
Mr. Mwale has since advised teachers and other civil servants who may be tempted to apply for the part-time jobs to avoid doing so, but instead leave the opportunity to many young people who have no jobs.
I also want to take this opportunity to urge our members, of course our teachers and the rest of the civil servants that are already in formal employment, to stay away from the census exercise, because it's one of the ways in which the new Dawn government wants to take care of our youth, so that our youths that are out there in the street find something to do in order to earn their own living. You realize that even in the teacher recruitment, not everybody was absorbed, and so we are saying, can our people stay away from that?
Zambia's unemployment levels have remained high, coupled with high cost of living can be a compelling factor for some to attempt to seek other sources of income. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News. National Union for Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPE's General Secretary Mr. Nelson Mwale yesterday reacted to the incident that happened in Petawoke district, where a teacher attempted to be among those to conduct census for the part-time census jobs. He says the district commissioner could have found a better way of handling the matter rather than going to the media. But remember, in the past, we had a situation where civil servants, mostly the teachers, would be among the supervisors of the census. But this year, government said we have a lot of unemployed people, so let's give an opportunity to the unemployed people, especially the youths, to be the one to take up this position. Can it be that maybe because of what was happening in the past, that's why the teacher thought, maybe let me also give myself an opportunity? Or is it because he was trying to look for other sources of income? The National Union for Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPE's General Secretary, Mr. Nelson Mwale, is with me in studio this morning. Sir, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Madam Chota. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm grateful.
I hope you are enjoying the morning and the nice weather that we have.
I am indeed. I am indeed.
Okay. For everyone following us on our social media platform, we appreciate your viewership. Keep watching Camnet TV, and let's get to interact. Make those phone calls, send those messages, even in this section as we discuss what transpired. I can see Honorable Joseph Nguni there asking a question why Camnet Television is not on Topstar. I think that problem is being rectified. We had a little bit of technical challenges transmitting the network to Topstar, but Topstar is working on that, and I give you an assurance that soon we will be back on Topstar. We appreciate your viewership, so keep those messages coming for those who are watching, and let's get to interact. What is your comment with regards to the matter that we've just played, even as we get to maybe dig deeper into what happened? Mr. Mwale, as the National Union for Public and Private Educators of Zambia, of course, you condemned how the district commissioner handled the matter. Let's start from there. Why do you feel that was not necessary?
Thank you so much, Prudence. You know, I like your earlier sentiments where you alluded to the fact that it's been a custom that our teachers and indeed the other civil servants have been in party to the census exercise, and including myself. I think when I was in active teaching, I was a supervisor for a very, very big area somewhere in Chalala, supervising the enumerators and so on. And so possibly, you know, that teacher thought maybe this is the time also to make extra money, because it's been a tradition that this has been happening. However, I think the instructions from the Central Statistical Office was very, very clear that all those in formal employment must not be part of this exercise, because there are many youths out there that want to survive. I think the numbers, Prudence, are enough to tell you the levels of unemployment. And so if I'm working already, I think I would be very unfair to push that I'm part of that. Why not share the little cake? I'm employed, I'm on a salary. There's a youth up there who is, roaming the streets. Why not leave it to those? And so that is the reason why you heard me, appealing to all the civil servants not to be part of that and leave the exercise specifically for our youth, because at the end of the day, they have to survive. Remember, should we leave, those youths that we saw the way they are, Prudence, we are sitting on a time bomb. And as teachers, we are the producers of those youths, because when they move out of secondary school, they get into tertiary education, we expect that they do something. But when we see those numbers, we get worried, to be sincere. We get worried.
Okay, so the reaction by the district commissioner, I know you spoke to that. Do you really support how the district commissioner handled one of your members?
Thank you so much. District commissioners are our parents in districts. And to me, I would repeat that if she was tipped to say there is actually a saving teacher in government who is part of us here, and the instructions were clear that these are not supposed to be part of us, I think the DC had an opportunity to engage our teacher outside the parameters of that hall, and possibly, without a camera, because at the end of the day, we have teachers to protect, and we're not going to sit Prudence and see our member humiliated. I think it's not okay. If a teacher is doing wrong, it's better the district commissioner, who is the district supervisor of all civil servants, call the person aside and say, you are in a wrong place. Can you right now get back to your school and continue delivering to the learners who I need? But you see, for our district commissioner to have openly actually called for a Camnet journalist to come closer and force that man to face the camera, we feel it was embarrassing to a professional man like Mr. Mkandawira, who has, of course, been delivering to these learners. I think as our supervisors, they have an obligation, the old duty to, protect the integrity of our workers, unlike humiliating. I can imagine if that teacher stepped into a classroom today, stepped into their own staff room today, how much of a laughing stock the man is. So that is the reason why, even in these schools, we've been appealing to administrators, even the DEBS officers, the PO's officers, up to PS level, we've been appealing to them to treat our people with civility, so that at the end of the day, we don't have a cadre that is humiliated. If you have a cadre that is humiliated, usually they get frustrated and then they fail to deliver. So I will still repeat that there was going to be a better way of telling that teacher that he was in the wrong place. He must give chance to the youths that are roaming the street, like the New Dawn government has observed, to say these are roaming the streets. Can we give them something to do and ensure that no one who is in active employment is actually party to that?
National Union for Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPE's General Secretary Mr. Nelson Mwale is of course reacting to the video that you've seen going around, where a teacher in Petauke district got into a conversation with the district commissioner when they noticed that he was part of those attempting to undertake the aptitude test so that it can be among the part-time census jobs. So in case you're just tuning into Camnet TV, let's get to interact. What do you think the commissioner should have done? Did the commissioner do the right thing by confronting the teacher in presence of a lot of people, and of course in presence of the cameras? We've seen Mr. Mwale has spoken to that. So send us those messages. For those who are watching us online, let's get to hear what you have to say over this program. I can see we've got quite a good number of those following us on our social media platform. That's our Facebook page. So just leave that message. And of course, if you need to call, make that call through the line that is on our screen. Let's get to interact. How do you think the district commissioner could have handled the matter more professionally? We've heard Mr. Mwale also speak to that. I think we have the first caller so far. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Fine, thank you, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling you from Eastern Province from Tembo.
Yes, please, Mr. Tembo. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, I think we are following the program and I concur with what the General Secretary is saying. That matter would have been handled off the Camnet. And it would have really saved the teacher. Because right now, I'm sure the news is about that teacher. Yes, now coming to my contribution to the General Secretary, I think the government is in a hurry to develop and empower the youth. But now the system seems to be failing. For example, the same recruitment of the sector staff.
Yes, please.
We are a minister of science and technology now. Why can't we get the right to go back to the state, even go on smartphone? That's wrong. Unlike approaching to the state that very close. I think that is the consulting the necessary progression in this era of COVID, and the government should really do a lot of things through its wing. Because no state can need to be written from home. Secondly, the issue of the recruitment of teachers and nurses. The same ministry also of science and technology. Sure, in this area, should people be flocking to start at HQ just from fingerprint clear? I can assure you that this first thing might come and these teachers will not report. Because they have been told you will not report it without the fingerprint being clear. I'm not sure whether it's Camnet TV or whether in that area that about 6,000 so far have been cleared only. Now imagine for the past 2 weeks we just cleared 6,000. When are we going to reach for the 2,000? Yeah, so I feel that through even the General Secretary of Education, please take this one seriously, that the government should have its game. It's better than that decentralize the issue of fingerprints, even to the provincial centers. Right now, what is happening, people are doing the fingerprints, going now to the center just to push that those things are clear. I think that's not a better way of organizing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that contribution. A wonderful contribution there coming from Petauke district, someone who's in the district, and of course he agrees with Mr. Nelson Mwale's thought to say the district commissioner could have found a better way of handling the matter. Then he's also spoken to the recruitment exercise where he said the clearance of fingerprints is taking too long. But I think the Zambia police has come up with an online system, Mr. Mwale, of how people can clear themselves in a fast and quicker way. I think if you go to the Zambia police page, you'll see there's a new system that has been introduced over that matter. Another important aspect there which you've mentioned to say, why didn't people write the exams online? Maybe perhaps people would have been discussing the answers and everyone could have gotten it correctly. Maybe that's why they decided to do that. But let me not speak on behalf of the Zambia Statistical Agency because you have a point there. Let's get another call before we allow Mr. Mwale to just make a contribution. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. Through to Camnet TV. Tell us your name and where you're watching us from, and then go ahead with your contribution.
My name is Peter from Choma.
It's good to know Choma is tuned in this morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
My contribution is this. The DC, she was trying to play about everything in this place. She was afraid of not every person in this. And the teacher also, he may have known or not that for the first time. But the problem was our mother, the approach to the child was not ordered. She should have called the child outside or involved with his immediate supervisor. Because even the child, if they go outside, he needs some input somehow. She's not just an easy, but she's a woman, she's a mother. People will consider that. But she will not correct the rights for those who give opportunity for those who So I don't think it was right because the teachers have been humiliated. How does they approach the shifting within the circle? I think it's a bad thing. I rest my case.
Thank you so much, sir, for that contribution. Maybe, Mr. Male, before we can move ahead, we have Unkwili Mbangandu watching us online, and she says the DC mentioned that she earlier announced that if there was any civil servant in the class, leave the room, but Mr. Mkandawire kept quiet and looked down, not until those who knew him flashed him out. So the teacher embarrassed himself. What is maybe your comment with regards to the submissions that have been made, and of course this one on Facebook, Mr. Mwale?
Okay, thank you so very much, Prudence. If you got me very, very clearly, yeah, I did not say really the teacher was very, very correct, that he found himself in the wrong place and so on and so forth. Yeah, of course, the teacher could have erred. You know, they say to err is human. Yeah, so the teacher could have erred. But there is still an opportunity for our mom, the district commissioner, to simply say, look, can you come here? Otherwise, you risk being embarrassed. Can we discuss? You are in a wrong place. Why can't you nicely move out? Oh, where is the DEBS? You know, we are controlled by district education board secretaries in the districts, in the Ministry of General Education. Where is the DEBS? Oh, the DEBS, your person, I think, is in a wrong place. Off the camera. I'm not saying that teacher was correct, but what I cannot explain is indeed whether the teacher knew that one of the criteria that was being used, the first one, the prerequisite of being part of the census exercise, that you must not be a full-time serving civil servant. Well, I'm not privy to whether he knew of that or not, but all the same, regardless of whether he faced it down the floor, or whether he faced the other side when the DC was trying to move people, I still insist that he should have been called. I don't think that teacher, you know, was so arrogant that even putting him out, he would have refused. I think people would have still moved him out and then sat him down, and then being told to say, you are in a wrong place. I agree to say that DC did make a mention to say, all those who are not supposed to be here, can you move out? But for us to, you know, rush to the camera so that the society is able to see that there is arrogance in this teacher and so on, I think as a representative of the teachers, I will not accept that, Madam Chota. We have got a duty to protect our members, because at the end of the day, even as they deliver in the classes, they must be those that enjoy their integrity without humiliation whatsoever. I will take you back to the 60s, where a teacher actually was held in high esteem. When you are working as a teacher, people will stop, you know, and give way for you as a teacher to pass. But of late, I think the name of the profession has been reduced to a level whereby, you know, we get humiliated even when you're not supposed to be humiliated. We wish that things would get back to those days where teachers were respected. And that is the reason why I've always repeated to say, even the independence that we are enjoying now, even the freedom that we have enjoyed for the past 50 something years, we cannot talk about that enjoyment of the freedom without the mention of a teacher. I'll tell you that Kenneth Kaunda was a teacher, Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe was a teacher, you know, Simon Masaka Pepe was a teacher, John Manakato was a teacher, to mention, but if you so, you can't talk about the freedom of expression that we are enjoying now without the mention of a teacher. And so a teacher deserves to be respected, regardless of, you know, a situation in which they are found in. A teacher deserves to be respected. You can't talk about any profession without a mention of a teacher.
National Union for Public and Private Educators of Zambia, UPE's General Secretary, Mr. Nelson Mwale, of course, is reacting to a story that you've seen that Camnet TV carried out, where a district commissioner and a teacher called Mr. Mkandawire in Petauke district, of course, got into a confrontation after the district commissioner, Martha Mlenga, noticed that he was among those attempting to undertake the aptitude test to be part of the part-time job for the census of housing and population in 2022. Before we release Mr. Mwale, maybe there is a contribution from Matthews Chungo. They are saying the woman so-called DC, she's a bad mother. Women are always humble, not the way she behaved towards the teacher. Amos in Sokolo, there also says it was not good. Anyone makes mistakes, and also please teachers follow the instructions. It's some job, leaves some jobs for the young people. Maybe before, or maybe as we release you, Mr. Mwale, what is your comment to other leaders in the future should one of your members be involved in such activities? I know this is not the first incident.
Yeah.
Such incidences are prone to happen.
Yeah.
And then maybe before I also allow you to contribute, let's just pick this last call for this particular section. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam.
Fine, thank you. It's good. You're listening, watching Camnet TV. Pardon me. Please tell us your name and where you're watching us from.
Yes,
It's good to know Kito is tuned in this morning.
yes.
Please go ahead.
I also want to contribute about the issue for the teacher who is playing the I think the madam,
I'm getting an echo on your phone. Have you turned down the volume on your TV set? I'm getting a very bad echo from your phone. Okay, I can now get you clearly. Please go ahead with your contribution. Hello? Oh, we lost Mr. Danny from Kitwe. I hope we can give you an opportunity to just go and make that contribution. We had a very bad feedback on your device. It was making a lot of noise. So if you can get to call us back, we will be able to give you an opportunity to just make that submission. Thank you so much for watching Camnet TV this morning. Mr. Mwale, maybe just a reaction to that.
Yeah, yeah, like I earlier did make a mention, I think our mother reacted, and going forward to all the senior officials that are there in government, I think there is always what we call the hierarchy in terms of communication. You know, I think...
okay, let me just cut you a little bit. Let's pick up that call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, sir, for watching Camnet TV this morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and go ahead with your contribution.
I'm calling you from Mukushi.
It's good to know Mukushi is watching this morning. Please go ahead with your contribution. Of course, tell us your name.
My name is Pokara.
Sir, please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes. I would like to make mention on the issue concerning the teacher that wanted to apply as a coordinator.
Yes, please.
The way the CT came out, I think I cannot blame her. She was correct, the step which she took. Because that person is a teacher, and they even announced before that multiple papers should apply. But even as the people that are in the private sector, we listened to that. We took note of that. But why should a teacher apply? Hello?
I'm getting you, sir. We're getting you.
Yes, so that should set as a precedent to other people's events. You see, because if that person was called aside, others would have gone and do the same. So that person that did it was put in the limelight. Everyone saw him. So even the other people's events were going to avoid to do that, because there was not going to be, they wouldn't want to be seen in the camera by the public. So that was the right step which she took. I cannot blame her. You will see no people's events is going to apply. They will see it because they wouldn't want to be seen in the public, even on the media. So she was not correct. If you go ahead and call them aside, the others will be going there, thinking that there's nothing that is happening. So that was correct. I end here.
Sir, Mr. Paul Kala, so thank you so much for Mukushi there. Mr. Mwale, I'll give you 2 minutes to conclude.
Thank you so much.
And of course, there are some also people following us online there. Queen Mbangandu repeats and says, for my good teacher Mr. Mkandawe to look down as a form of hiding, it means he knew what he was doing, disguising as innocent so that proof disguising as innocent, so that's proof he knew what he was doing. And the DC, the way we may disagree with her, but she was just exercising our authority for disobeying her, so I stand with what I submitted. And then another one there, Willington Chileshe says, the way the DC reacted was not professional because it's a duty to protect civil servants as a civil leader, so he should have found another way of handling the matter, because it is not all the civil servants who had access to the sufficient information. You can't publish every information, because from the look of things in the video, the teacher was humble and he shown to be cooperated, and he showed to be cooperated by and is shown to be cooperated by the DC. It shows, okay, I think I get what he's trying to say. Maybe Mr. Male, just reacting to that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prudence. I respect the opinion of the previous caller, but like I earlier did make a mention, I did not say the teacher was on firm ground to have hidden right in that room without following instructions, but I did make a mention to say there was still going to be a better way of doing it than humiliating, our teacher. I think as parents, even in homes, I think we are not going to wash dirty linen in public all the time. We'll find ways to say, you child, can you get into this bedroom? I want to sit down with you because this is what you did. We will not go and stand on the streets of Lusaka to say, no, therefore this child has been a nuisance. No, I think we'll find a better way of, disciplining our children. But to agree with him, I will still repeat that, can us as civil servants leave the exercise to the unemployed youths that are out there roaming the streets of Lusaka, roaming the streets of Kitwe, roaming the streets of Chipata? They are all over because they need that small cake that is available from the Central Statistical Office. And going forward, for our leaders, there's always communication channels that are available in the government system. So even ourselves as unions, we are available. When we are told to say your member is being indisciplined this side, we move in. We do provide counsel, we do provide guidance. We've never defended what is wrong, but the approach in which something is handled usually matters to us as labor leaders.
Okay.
Thank you.
National Union for Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, General Secretary Mr. Nelson Mwale was reacting to the incidents that happened in Petawuke district. But we'll have to release Mr. Mwale for now. We are going to have Mr. Jimmy Katuta in studio. We are talking entrepreneurship and investment opportunities in Zambia. The man we are about to have on the show actually has a car dealing business in the United States of America. Are you interested in listening to that? And what investment opportunities are there in Zambia? Of course, he equally has a lot of businesses here in Zambia. If you have questions that you have to ask about investing in the diaspora, and of course, for those who are in the diaspora wants to invest in Zambia, this is an opportunity for you. We've seen a huge bulk of people who are unemployed. How is it that you can take advantage of the environment in Zambia for you to do your investment? Imagine all those who came up to write those tests. If they can invest in the country, we can make Zambia a better place. Keep those messages coming and let's continue interacting. Mr. Jimmy Katuka is going to also explain how is it that he established his company in the United States of America. More after this short break. Do not go away. Camnet TV, remember, is not just another channel.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV. I know my director upstairs is telling me we have a number of phone calls that are coming in to make your contribution with regards to the topic that we earlier had. Unfortunately, we had to release Mr. Nelson Mwale because we only invited him on the program for the first 30 minutes, even as we move into another segment, another very important and interesting segment. For those of you who are watching us in the comfort of your home, for those who are watching us on your gadgets, you might be in the office and you're watching Camnet TV. I've seen quite a good number of those who are following us on our social media platforms. Keep those messages coming and let's get to interact. The man I'm about to introduce to you today is a very, is an inspiration for a lot of people, not just myself, but a lot of people who get to listen to him speak. Mr. Jimmy Katuta, pardon me, is of course a Zambian, but living in the United States of America. This person has a car dealing company in the United States of America, among many other companies that we will talk about. When we talk about unemployment levels, how is it that we can become entrepreneurs and what investment opportunities are there in Zambia? Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for honoring our invitation to come to Camnet TV.
Well, like I said before we started airing, it's a privilege. It's a privilege and an honor that I take very seriously. So thank you for the invitation.
Of course, a lot of people maybe watching might be wondering, yeah, this is the first time we are seeing him on the screen. Who is he? So maybe just explain to the people out there who you are and what is it that you are doing so that they get to understand the center of our interaction this morning.
Well, thank you. Good morning, family. My name is Jimmy Katuta. I am a Zambian national based in the United States of America. And I have been in America for about 29 years now. I went there initially, like most of us do when we immigrate to other countries, looking for greener pastures. But I have been very fortunate. And I wanted to, let me back up just a little bit, just to give you a brief history. I was born in Mufulira, and I've been in America 29 years, like I said.
Wow.
I've been a businessman, and now I am what you would call a community organizer. So I'm happy to be here, and happy to interact with you folks out there, and happy to share my experiences. And let's just get to interact. I'd like to find out what it is that we can do together. Those of us that live in the diaspora, and those of you that are out here in Zambia, I'm sure there's a connection there that we can use. So that's what I want to talk about.
Interesting. Let's talk about investment. What is it that you are doing as an investor in the US and of course in Zambia? I know you run quite a number of companies. So just to inspire someone who's watching, let's get to know some of the businesses that you're doing.
Okay, thank you for that. So what we are, my company is called JK and Partners USA LLC. And what we are is a community development network. And what we do is we're a conglomerate of different businesses that all come together under one umbrella with one mission, which is to elevate standards of living in Africa. So we feel that the best way for us to really contribute to the African economy, and you keep hearing me say Africa, because I'm not just limited to Zambia.
Of course.
I'm an African, so therefore, if I am serving my continent, then everybody's included. So what we do is we specialize in heavy equipment, financing, and supply. So for instance, our target are the small to medium-sized businesses. I'll give you an example. We have a lot of emerald miners, we have gold miners, we have farmers. And what I've realized is that most of our people here, they're very hardworking. But what it is they lack is the equipment. And because they lack the equipment, they can't really commercialize their industries. So JK and Partners, with our investment partners, we come in and we provide financing for these young small businesses to help them grow. Because as they grow, then they give jobs to the local community, which is the goal. You are created with being the first African to open up and run a successful car dealership in
Sacramento in California. Let's talk about that particular business.
Well, my sister, this is a very interesting story because when I moved to the United States, I had nothing.
Okay.
I left Zambia. I was 27 years old, and I went to the United States, and I couldn't find a job. So the only job I could find was as a car salesman at a car dealership in Sacramento.
Wow.
And what happened there really touched me.
Okay.
Because
it's good to hear it.
Yeah, because they have a credit system in the United States. You have to have credit in order for you to buy a car, right? So what was happening is we were dealing with a lot of African American, especially single mothers. And these single mothers had bad credit because obviously their history, you know, that's another subject for another day. But to keep a long story short, what these ladies were doing is they would come to the car dealership to try and buy a car, and they would tell them that they don't qualify. And then I could see the other salesmen in the back laughing at the women, you know, as they walked away with their children. And it just touched me, and I felt that there was something I could do about it. So I went to my boss and I said, let me make a deal with you. Instead of you paying me my salary, my paycheck, why don't you pay me in your trade-ins? Because at car dealerships, every time somebody buys a new car, usually they trade in their old car.
Okay.
And those cars are generally useless to the dealership. So the dealership will take those cars and sell them at the auction. So I said to my boss, I said, give me those cars, those old ones, and I would take those cars and I would fix them. And every single mother that was turned down, I would call them and I said, look, I know you came here looking to buy a car, and these guys cannot give you the car you wanted, but I have this car that will get you to work, at least so you can support your family. If you could pay me $100 every paycheck, the car is yours. And I'll give them those cars.
Wow.
And word got out. Next thing you know, I had a lot of mothers buying cars from me, telling their friends, and next thing you know, I had my own dealership.
Wow.
And that's how that happened.
Mr. Jimmy Katuta, in case you're just tuning into Camnet TV, is a Zambian born but living in the United States of America. He has a lot of companies and of course is linking Africans to a lot of opportunities right here and of course out there. How is it that you can be part? Earlier on in the program, he did mention to the fact that they help small businesses that have issues with financing and of course with equipment.
Yes.
Yes, if I got you rightly, so that you can increase production, become productive, and become a successful entrepreneur. If in case you have questions that you have to ask with regards to just a little bit of the things that we've discussed, please, let's get to interact. Send us those messages on our social media platforms. And of course, you can give us a phone call and ask Mr. Katuka any question that you have to ask with regards to entrepreneurship. So let's move on now and talk about investment opportunities that are around there. How are you linking businesses in the diaspora and of course those in their diaspora wanting to invest in Africa? How are you linking them to business opportunities?
That's a very good question. So, and this is, by the way, open to everybody.
Yes, please.
Because you have to understand that the reason why Africa is underdeveloped is because we don't share ideas. See, the American system, everybody contributes. So what I encourage everybody to do is, this is unprecedented. What we're doing here is something that hasn't been done for a while, so it's going to take all of us to be creative. Here's my proposal, okay? We have a lot of unemployed people in this country. My theory is, and this is obviously my opinion, I'm not pointing any fingers.
Yes, please.
What I found is that we educate our children in Africa, but we don't create the infrastructure to keep them here. So what do? They go abroad, they get educated, and when they get their degrees, they find that they can make more money abroad, so they don't come back. That's the brain drain. If we want Africa to develop, we have to stop the brain drain. How do we do that, my sister? By empowering these small to medium-sized businesses. Let's say, for instance, we get somebody who has a gold mine. They have the gold mine, they have the feasibility studies, they have their geological surveys that shows that there are in fact minerals under that ground. Let's give them the equipment they need.
Wow.
Now, the problem they run into is the gridlock, that if they go to the bank is going to say, well, show us your track record. How can they show your track record if you haven't given them a chance? And that's where we come in. If you can show me that you are licensed to do what you're supposed to do, whether it's farming or mining, show us that you're licensed. You're operating under the law. If you have ownership of whatever the mine, the farm is, show us proof of that. Show us that your mine can produce, your farm can produce. We'll put together a strategy that will create income for you. That's how we partner with them. We have investors in the United States that are pulling their money out of the cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency is tanking. The stock market is dipping. So now these guys are sitting there with their money and they're thinking, where do I put my money? And everybody's looking to Africa. China is in Africa heavy.
Yeah, very heavy.
Guess what? America wants to participate. And what I love about America, and I'm not just saying this because I've lived in America for 29 years, I'm saying this because American standards are very high when it comes to labor protection laws, when it comes to everything. So I'm saying allow America to invest in Africa because America wants to do business with Africa. And we can invest in Africa and make sure that we empower our people so that they can develop. And as they develop, they start giving jobs to their local people. And we don't want them to just give jobs. We want them to give high-paying jobs. My fight, if you look at my history, you can look me up, my fight has always been about good income. Because people say jobs. No, it doesn't make sense. For instance, I've been in Lusaka for about 3 weeks now, right?
Wow, okay.
I was staying at a hotel, and the hotel manager, they're very educated, college educated, and he's talking to me, and we were having a conversation, and I said, so how much do you make? I know it's none of my business, but what do you make? He said, he told me he makes 3,000 kwacha per month.
3,000 kwacha?
3,000 kwacha.
300,000 or 3,000 kwacha?
3,000 kwacha.
Okay.
This is a man who manages a hotel. Now, when I look at his counterpart in the U.S. that manages the same establishment, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. So there's a disparity here that we need to fix. How do we fix that? Let's talk about that. I'm here to answer any questions. I'm open to discussion. I don't claim to know everything, but I claim to know a lot of people that know a little bit of everything. So let's have a conversation. Very important submission there. We have someone offering a solution to some of the challenges that we're facing in the country. If you are an entrepreneur, you're having a challenge with how is it that I can grow my business, how is it that I can grow and become international. This is sometimes maybe where we have it again. We get it wrong, Mr. Katuta. Let's talk about maybe packaging. Okay. Most of the time, entrepreneurs want to break even to the international market, but they face challenges when it comes to that. Before we proceed, we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm Sandakori from Kawe.
It's good to know Kawe is watching this morning. Please, Mr. Mlenga, go ahead with your contribution, or rather your question.
Yes, I'm interested on this, what is South Africa is talking about. Yes, more especially in your family. So I just wanted to maybe how can I be connected to him? How can I talk to him? Yes.
Okay, I'm sure later on in the program, please stay tuned to Camnet TV is going to answer to some of how can we get in touch with him. I've seen even some people online who are following there. Mr. Kwilimba Ngandu here says, how can we link up with you, sir? You seem to be a solution to many of us, viable but financially vulnerable, especially youths. I would be happy to get in touch with you. You can catch that. Yes, so I'm sure a lot of people would want to know how is it that they can get in contact with you. But maybe before that, we'll do that later on or later in the program. We were talking about breaking even to reach the outside market. What is it that entrepreneurs in Zambia need to do in order for them to break even? I know this has been quite a challenge. Last time we held the European Union summit here in Lusaka, a lot of issues were talked about in
terms of how businesses can break even. They talked about issues of quality when it comes to the quality of things that we produce in Africa. Reaching the outside market has been quite a challenge. And of course, the president even appealed to the European Union to say, can you at least allow some of African products to find themselves on the international market? So let's talk about motivating our own entrepreneurs to reach the outside market. What is it that we need to do?
Well, it's interesting that you should say that, because the reason I'm in Zambia today is because I was recently appointed to the Nevada Governor's Black Advisory Council.
Okay. And
what I'm doing here is to find a way to create a bilateral trade between Nevada as a state and Zambia as a country. So what you have, Nevada is a desert, so we import everything.
Wow.
When it comes to fruit, vegetables, flowers, we import all those things. So think of an idea where this is what I'm proposing. If we can have Zambian farmers create a value-added enterprise. So the farmers, what we do is we get the farmers, they grow their tomatoes, and once you grow your tomatoes, now we create a factory right there on your farm. So now, when you export your tomatoes, they are canned tomatoes, right? That's how you can do that. You say break even, I say break through. What the Zambians need to do to break through into the international market, number one is, first of all, you're at an advantage. Zambia has the best climate that I know.
Wow.
You have unlimited sunshine. You have beautiful, rich soil. We have a lot of land, so all you have to do is find a product that you can specialize in, and let's export it to America. I don't care whether it's fruit, vegetables. America will buy everything. We import everything from China and Mexico.
Wow.
So imagine if we could do that from Africa. So that's what the breakthrough I think we should be talking about. As far as quality goes, we have a very good president right now. He's one of the few. When I left, Kenneth Kaunda was still president.
Wow.
And I've been watching through the news over the presidents that have come and gone. And some of them have done very well. But I'm particularly interested in what our new president is doing, because he is actually getting on the road and going and making these connections. So what we need to establish is simply create a system to where our quality, we have to have a quality control system that says these are the qualities that are accepted. America has the Food and Drug Administration. They have the EPA. All those, we can get you that information to say, if you want to sell to America, these are the guidelines. And once we get you those quality guidelines as far as control is concerned, then you can export to America. Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Katuta there is, of course, a Zambian born but living in the United States of America. He owns a lot of companies and, of course, linking a lot of business opportunities, linking a lot of businesses to opportunities right here in Africa and, of course, out there. Are you a business and you're looking for a solution? I think we have a solution here. We have another caller. Let's get to interact. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you, sir. How are you?
Fine.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and then go ahead with your contribution, or rather your question.
This is Mukwilima calling you from Kankata.
Good to know Kankata is watching this morning, Mr. Mukwilima.
Yes. I want to find out how we can link up with the big man. I think he, as I earlier said, he must be a solution to most of us youth, especially who are just financially vulnerable, and who have the potential to contribute something to the economy of this nation. So how can we help with him, and maybe he can assure us how he can help us? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukwilimba, for that submission. And of course, it's similar to what the earlier caller said. So later on in the program, as we come to a conclusion, it will be able to tell you how is it that you can get in touch with him. I'm seeing a lot of that a question coming through, even on our social media platform.
Right.
I have K Square there who says, that's great, Mr. Katuka. Kindly provide me with your contact detail. I am starting up a semi-precious and query mining small scale. So we are aware that a lot of people would like to get in contact with him. So later on, at the conclusion of this program, he will be able to tell you where is it that you can find him and what is it that you need to do to reach out to him. But maybe moving on, Mr. Katuka, let's maybe talk about some of the challenges that entrepreneurs face. How is it that you can overcome challenges as an entrepreneur? I know there's this assumption which people have that when you start a business, it has to flourish there and then. We don't sometimes learn to say businesses sometimes are a risk. You might fail at first attempt, second attempt, third, but you might break even. So maybe let's just talk about businesses and, of course, the challenges that comes with doing business.
Well, that's a very good undertaking. First of all, if you're going to decide to be an entrepreneur, I want you to understand this. You will fail. Okay? Everybody fails the first time. It's part of the process. That is why I encourage you people, especially the young. And I'm very encouraged by the questions that we're getting. Everybody wants to get in touch with me. And trust me, I'm looking for you more than you're looking for me. Because you are the answer to my problem. My problem is to bring whatever knowledge I have acquired in the United States, I want to bring it here so that we can all grow and develop as a nation. So this is what I advise. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, choose a path that you enjoy. Because you run into people that, I have a friend of mine say, you have a hair salon and you're successful. So I look at you, I said, well, if she's successful, oh, I'm going to be successful. Next thing you know, I open a hair salon. But in order for your business to thrive, you have to really stick with it. And don't look at the money. Look at the service you're providing. Most people go into business thinking, I'm going to go make money. No, go into business thinking, I'm going to go provide a service. The reason I was successful in America in the car business is because when I started the car dealership, remember what I was saying? I didn't say, let me go make some money. I said, let me serve these single mothers. If you're doing something you enjoy, then it's not really work. What you're doing is you're doing it with passion, and as you do it, the more you do it, if you help enough people, you will get what you need. So just focus, number one, do what you enjoy doing. Number two, provide a service that is needed to the community. That's how you become successful. And stand strong, because there will be many times that you will fail, many times. But as long as you stick with it, you will succeed, guaranteed.
What kind of businesses do you work with? Do you work with startups? Do you work with people with only ideas? Or you work with people who are at least doing something? I know most of the time when we hear there's someone who has funding, we know now that government has announced that they've introduced Constituency Development Fund. They've moved it from 1.6 million to 25.7. And part of the component is meant to support businesses. Right. When government announced that, we saw a rush of people coming together to form cooperatives so that they can get that money and invest in businesses. So this is where I asked to say, what kind of businesses do you deal with? Startup? Do you support startups, those who are on the ideas, or you also go as far as those who are at least doing something?
We support everybody. We support everybody. We invest in ideas. We invest in practical ideas. If you come to us and focus on, don't just say, I have an idea. It's better to include a lot of people in your team so that you can come up with a good business plan. What I've noticed that happens with most of us is you have a good idea, but you don't want to bring in partners that can help you elevate your idea. So make sure you have a good business plan. If you have an idea, reach out to somebody who knows how to do business plans. Do a website, then come to us and say, look, Jimmy, I have an idea. I'm thinking about making cups. If the idea makes sense to our investors, we package it, we send it to them. Some will say no, some will say yes. But we don't stop there. If some of our investors say no, then we go to them and say, what is it that we need to do to make sure that you say yes? And they give us those guidelines. We have underwriting guidelines. So it doesn't matter if you have an idea that you're just starting now, or if you have a business that has already been in existence, but is not, for some reason, it's not just gaining momentum. We can help you gain momentum with that business. So everybody is invited. We can do it. It's going to take time for some of you because you may not have all your ducks in a row, as they say, but we'll help you get there.
Maybe speak to the importance of people having a business plan. I think we are quite a little bit backwards when it comes to business plans in Zambia. And of course, even a lot of people don't really know how is it that I can come up with a business plan. So let's talk to the importance of having a business plan before you undertake a business.
Well, what a business plan does is it's a blueprint. You're telling the person that you're asking the money from to say, this is where I'm going to start and this is where I'm going to end. And between here, this is what I'm going to do. So if I'm going to be selling shirts, I imagine I would be buying cotton to buy the shirts. And when I buy the shirts, I'll be taking them to the tailor, and he's going to charge me $5 to make a shirt. Then I'm going to take it to ShopRite, I don't know who, Woolworths, and they're going to give me so much. So as long as you give a projection, that's what a business plan is. You say what your product is going to be and what your projected income is going to be from that product. And then in that, in that plan, you say how much you're willing to pay an investor in interest. So if I have $1,000 I want to invest in your business, you tell me, okay, Mr. Katuta, if you give me $1,000 in a year, I'll be able to give you $50 interest on your money. You write all that down in detail. And when you present it, and you can present it to a bank, you can present it to anyone. And most of us that are open, especially with our company here, if there are some things where you're missing, we'll add those things to make sure that it's palatable to the investors.
Those watching Camnet TV, there is need for us to have business plans. Mr. Katuta is here to offer some of the solutions to the challenges that we face in our entrepreneurship journey. And of course, you can get in contact with him. Later on, he'll give us his details on how you can get in contact with him. But let's talk about some of the African countries you are working with. I read from your profile that you recently held a meeting with Kenya's Vice President over of course, some of the discussions. So what African countries are you working with?
A lot, a lot. I'm actually the founding president of the African diaspora of Las Vegas, which has now 27 countries represented, and we all speak with one voice. We do business with each other. The vice president I met was not of Kenya, it was of Uganda. Oh. Yes, His Excellency Edward Sekande. He and I built a relationship over the years, and we went to Uganda to try and see what the United States can do for Uganda in developing their solar energy. Wow. But I'm also working with Zimbabwe. I just came from Zimbabwe, where I was in a business meeting with a lot of business people in Kwekwe with our president there, President Mnangagwa. So I'm also the Nevada State Chair for ADDI, which stands for African Diaspora Development Institute. And we are in 42 countries. So we are all over the world, and we're just trying to make sure that we get it done.
Let me just hold you a little bit. We have a caller. Hello, good morning. Fine, thank you. How are you? I know you're calling from Oferila, but I didn't get your first name. Pardon? Your line is quite bad. Okay. Please go ahead with your contribution. All right, thank you so much for that question. He's equally asking a question, where can I find you? It seems a lot of people are interested in knowing where you can be found. What a wonderful discussion we are having this morning. In case you're just tuning into Camnet TV, we are speaking to Mr. Jimmy Katuka. He is a Zambian born but living in the United States of America, a very influential person currently contributing a lot to the African continent. And of course, he owns his own car dealership in the United States of America. You are wondering how is it that the Zambian has succeeded in the United States? Earlier on the program, did tell us how is it that it came to establish that car company. So in case you're just tuning in, this program is being recorded live on our Facebook platform. You can just go back and listen to the recording and then keep sending those some of questions that you have to ask. And of course, before you were cut by the caller, you were explaining something about the African countries that you are working with.
Oh yes, yes, because you asked me how many countries I have been involved with, and all of them, to be honest, every country that is of African origin, and that includes Caribbean countries. You have to understand the whole idea behind ADDI, which stands for the African Diaspora Development Institute, is to make sure that Africa brings her children home. Now, some people, when I say that, it gets a little controversial. They're saying, well, what do you mean bring us home? We're simply saying you're invited to come back home. Africa has grown so rapidly, so much, so fast, that we have equity in this land. And it's time for us to come back home. Yeah.
Definitely. And of course, let's talk about people in the diaspora. How is it that you are uniting them to invest in Africa, and what successful stories are we looking at here?
Oh, we have. I don't think we have the time to talk about all of them, but we have a lot of people that have, not only Africans, by the way, even African Americans and white Americans for that fact. They're coming back and they're investing, and most of them are moving back here. The African diaspora has been awakened. We have been awakened because, like our president said, we are like a province now, right? We are an 11th province to Zambia, for instance, because we are an economy of our own. If you look at our remittances, the money that we send here, it's in the millions of dollars, okay? So now we're coming back. We're coming to invest. We're coming to buy land. We're coming to bring development to Africa. So there's so many things that are happening. I was talking to a friend of ours, he's a Zambian, and he just came here and he has started a cement factory.
Wow.
Okay, he has started a cement factory because he found out that the people that own cement factories here are the Lebanese, and I think he said some other nationality, I don't remember. But so he's doing that. We have some Zambians in the diaspora that have come here and have invested in the transportation business. They have trucks that are going cross-country to deliver products. We have some that are involved in fish farming. There's just a lot of us that are doing things. Yes.
And a lot of people maybe are asking, where is it that we can find you? How can we get in contact with you? How can we do business?
So, finally, right? You can reach me by email. My email is jkandpartners@usa.com. JKAND partners, plural, which is PARTNERS @usa.com. Send us an email and we'll reach out to you. We have very, very educated, committed, very aggressive. We have a very aggressive team that will come to you, that will return, or rather will respond to you. And just give us your number and the best way to contact you, and I'll talk to you personally.
Okay, I know for a fact that maybe a lot of people might be wanting to get in contact with you, but in case you did not get what he did give out, just reach us, Camnet TV. We are going to have all the details available to you. Yeah, and sometimes, usually, I know, even in some past programs, we have had a lot of people who've called asking for the caller's number and detail, but sometimes we avoid giving that online, and we would rather you call through and we give you the correct details of how you can get in contact with the people who come on the program. But maybe even as we come towards the end of the program, what messages do you have for people out there who've got maybe an idea they want to start business but they are holding on, and people who sometimes get maybe carried away with the fact that if I invest I might not get my return? I think we have a lot of this happening, and that's why people are not breaking even, because they are holding on with the fear of, if I invest I will fail. If I start this business, I might not make it. So maybe what is your message to them?
Get in touch with the Zambia Development Agency. That is your resource. The ZDA is a resource that is very, very capable of helping you grow your business. I can't tell you anything more than that, because you have a government that is really, really looking to help its people. The ZDA, utilize it. That's a very good resource. But other than that, all I can tell you is if you have an idea, make sure that you share it with people, run it around people, talk to people about it. Get that criticism, because sometimes when you have an idea, you think it's the best idea.
Okay.
And then you run it by someone and they're like, that sounds ridiculous. What are you thinking? So get that, and don't be discouraged. Always focus and stay focused and just stay committed. Otherwise, Zambia is virgin territory. You guys have land, you have minerals, you have all sorts of opportunities. Just get in touch with the Zambia Development Agency, have them help you and guide you on how to grow your business.
Well, let's talk about policies. Do we think we have the right policies that favor businesses? And of course, maybe moving forward to government officials who are watching, what policies do you think we should introduce in order to favor businesses to thrive and reach the outside market?
I would encourage the government to create a department that deals primarily with youth development. Okay, because as you see this calls that we're getting from the youth, these guys are brilliant. These guys are so smart and they have all these ideas. We need the government to give them a resource. They need to give them a department where they can go. I don't know if they have one now, I imagine they do. Go where they can go and bring these ideas to the table and have them bounce around some of the seasoned businessmen to get them going. But as far as policies in place so far, I'm happy with what I'm seeing happening in Zambia. The development is amazing. By the way, I was telling my brother, I'm staying with my brother, and I said, this is the first time I'm back in Zambia. And I went to Uganda, I went to South Africa, I went to Zimbabwe, and I came to Lusaka, and Lusaka is like the cleanest city I've seen out of the ones I've been to. And I was so impressed.
Okay.
I said, this is my country. So imagine how I felt. So now if we have these youth here, and we have the youth back in the United States that are amazing, and they are hungry to connect with their fellow youth out here. Let's the government now talk about policy initiation. Let the government here, through our embassies, create a youth support system where the youth abroad and the youth here can have access to each other. And let them develop ideas to grow our country. That's what I would suggest.
Have you been pushing for that? Have you written to the government institutions for such an initiative?
No, but I think after today I will.
Okay.
I will, yes.
That is interesting. Mr. Jimmy Katuta there is Zambian born but living in the United States. He owns several businesses, not just here in Zambia, but of course even in the United States. Linking opportunities, that is what he is here to do in Zambia. He is back, he's been here for 3 weeks, and of course doing amazing things to link businesses to the right investors and investors to businesses, and of course creating business opportunities for those who want to break even in their entrepreneurship journey. If you have any questions that you have to send or ask him, send those questions through to Camnet TV. We are going to forward some of those questions to him, and of course is going to get a response. If you want to get in contact with him, I know a lot of you have been asking for the contact message, and we are going to send you his details on how you can get in contact with him. For everyone who's been watching us on social media, I've seen quite a number of people been following us on this program. Thank you so much for accompanying Camnet TV, not just another channel. For those who've sent text messages, thank you so much. Earlier on in the program, we saw an overwhelming number of phone calls. Apologies for those we had to cut and could not give an opportunity to call because we ran out of time. But keep watching Camnet TV, because this is a show that brings you a lot of important discussions in the area of politics, in the area of business. Today, Friday specifically, we look at the business sector of what is happening around in our country. So stay tuned to Camnet TV, even as we continue bringing you a lot of exciting programs. From me, Prudence Chota, my guest, Mr. Jimmy Katuka, and everyone who's been watching us, and the entire Camnet TV production team, it's bye for now, and God bless you.